Indian students are extremely hardworking and they really give it their all, and they're the most passionate in their classes because that's how we're groomed in India.
If let's consider you were an 18-year-old student or someone who's just passionate about the career, has limited connections and limited budget, what would be the exact strategy or roadmap that person should follow to build a global career?
The decision you make at 18 does not actually define your entire life. But somehow there's so much pressure we put on ourselves as Indians to say, whatever you decide at 18, now you're stuck with it for the rest of your life.
Even if we get a degree, even if we learn the skills and build on top of it, still there are no jobs available. So what do you think? Is AI really replacing jobs?
Skills today are extremely important above a degree. So if you're pursuing a degree, that's great, but in parallel, build your skill set.
So if you have to summarize, what exactly are the problems that you're trying to solve?
I think the key problem we're trying to solve is trust.
If you're going ahead with a degree, you're learning something, you would definitely want a placement support. So that's the biggest challenge we face in India as well.
Get the degree first. You finish your grade 12, get the degree first, and then the career will follow. And perhaps this was true 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But the generation has changed and times have changed and technology has changed. With time, I feel jobs get so stressful that you only get through in those jobs which still make you smile at the end of it all. And that only comes from something that you're passionate about.
When it comes to global employers, what do they actually look forward when they're hiring candidates?
Return on investment is much higher, Shivangi. So it's worth that investment in the language.
So now when it comes to moving abroad, studying abroad, there are multiple options that we have. Which one would you suggest to target for?
There is nobody in Germany with this degree today who is without a job.
Everyone around you has an opinion about your career. Someone says do an MBA, another person says go abroad and you will be able to earn a high paying job. Someone else says AI is replacing everyone. And honestly, it is becoming really difficult to know who to trust. So today for the podcast, instead of inviting another influencer, I have invited someone who has spent her career in shaping education and global careers. She has worked with the World Bank, BCG and advised initiative links to the British Asian Trust, and today she is the co-founder and CEO of Magic Billion, an organization that has helped thousands of Indians build their careers across the world. So in this conversation, we will be discussing questions which every student has in 2026. Is studying abroad worth it? Is 30 lakh MBA actually a good investment? Which jobs will AI replace first? Why is Germany suddenly becoming one of the biggest opportunities for Indians? What should an 18-year-old do today if they want an extraordinary career? And many more questions. Trust me, this podcast is going to be one of the most practical career conversations you've heard on the internet. So without any further ado, let's start. Let me quickly introduce Aditi to you all. Hi Aditi, thank you so much for joining us today. And it's a pleasure to have you over here. I have seen your LinkedIn, I've seen the fascinating work that you are doing. So I'm just looking forward to talking to you as much as possible and making this conversation super helpful for my audience. So I would just want you to quickly introduce yourself to my audience in your words.
Great. It's a pleasure to be here, Shivangi. Well, I'm Aditi Banerjee. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Magic Billion, which is a global talent mobility company. We help Indians find pathways to go to what we believe are aspirational countries in the world. We've sent more than 3,000 Indians out over the last 8 years. And before starting the company, which was 8 years ago now, I was an economist by academic training, and I worked 15 years in development finance. So that would be about me.
Yeah, you've been in this education space for quite a long time, I see.
Yeah, education, skills, development more broadly. So I used to be at the World Bank in Washington, D.C., where I started my career when I was 22. And then from there, moved to the Boston Consulting Group back in India. And then I moved into impact investing. Yeah.
So when you look at the Indian students, what do you think, what are the biggest career mistakes that they make in general?
I mean, this is a good question because I'm dealing my entire life these days with this catchment of candidates, from 18 to 25 mostly. So I think perhaps there are, let me start by saying that Indian students, for a reason, are making up larger and larger proportions in international universities. Yeah, and I think the basic point is that Indian students are extremely hardworking. And they really give it their all. And they're the most passionate in their classes because that's how we are groomed in India. But having thought about this question, I think there might be three things in particular that I would say. Firstly, there's this pressure in India, I think, and I had the same pressure when I was younger, so it hasn't changed, which is get a degree and then think about your career. And I think there's a
Yeah.
fallacy there because today degrees are not equal to careers. There's so much more that you need to
Hmm.
invest in skill building. So the first thing I would say is
Correct.
to move a little bit away from this degree is the end all in life to thinking about your career, taking a step back and saying, what do I want to become? And then starting from there to see, is degree the first step then? And if it is the first step, let me take that step, but also build my skills in parallel. So the first thing would be this. I think this is a challenge that we face. The second thing is there's still this bit of stereotype in India, which is there are certain things you study and then your career is made. Doctor or engineer, and then you're there. You've made it. But we can see the number of doctors and engineers who are coming out with these extremely expensive degrees in hand with nothing in terms of placements afterwards. So I would say today the world is much larger than this. There are people working in skill building across the globe. You could be in manufacturing, you could be in hospitality, you could be teaching. There are many career options outside of just being a doctor or an engineer. So that's the second thing I would say. And I think the third thing, which I can only have learned in retrospect, is the decision you make at 18 does not actually define your entire life. But somehow there's so much pressure we put on ourselves as Indians to say, whatever you decide at 18, now you're stuck with it for the rest of your life. But that's
Oh,
not true.
yeah.
There's so much more that you
Hmm.
can go along and change in your pathway and in your career. So, really, to take a bit of the pressure off the shoulders of an 18-year-old to say, it's okay, you'll find your way along the way.
Absolutely. I agree to each and every point that you have mentioned, and it's so, so true. So, on that, Aditi, I have another question. Like, if let's consider you were an 18-year-old student or someone who's just passionate about the career, has limited connections and like limited budget, what would be the exact strategy or roadmap that person should follow to build a global career?
Let me just start by saying that it's important to believe that there are possibilities outside of privilege, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that there is a lot that a person can achieve on their own without having the connections to, the who's who, and without breaking your bank. So there's a lot which can be done. So let me split this into perhaps four things which I think a youngster, a young professional should look at. So the first thing I would say, and this is what I was hinting at the first response as well, take a step back and think about what you want to do. What excites you? What is it that makes you happy when you wake up in the morning? And then think
Yeah.
about the career path that you want. Yeah. So if you enjoy cooking, for example, forget about these stereotypes of can a man become a chef? Today there are many such good examples. So if that really is something you enjoy, then start looking at the pathway based on your interest. Then get a hospitality degree, then go and become a sous chef somewhere, and then build it that way. Yeah? So step one should be think about where you want to get to and then chart the path backwards. That would be my first thing. The second thing is, again, skills today are extremely important above a degree. So if you're pursuing a degree, that's great, but in parallel, build your skill set. So learn a new language or do something practical on the side so that what you're learning in the classroom is also what you're testing in the workplace. Yeah, communication skills extremely important to learn. Everybody is not good at communicating, but it's such a relevant skill today. So, the second thing I would say is together with the degree, also build a skill set. The third would be to demonstrate what you're learning. So, most people actually, we also get a lot of such applications at Magic Billion of youngsters who have just come out after a bachelor's and a master's, no work experience at all. And then I get CVs
Mm-hmm.
in parallel where there are those who have done a bachelor's and a master's, but every year they've done an internship, every year. And I much rather pick those candidates who have done that because they've really got some real world experience. They've learned something along the way, which is higher than just what they learned in the classroom. So, really, to invest in
Yeah.
yourself and demonstrate your skills. I think this is also very important as a skill, I feel. And the third, and the last one, sorry, the fourth one is believe in the process. Don't try to look for
Yeah.
shortcuts. It's going to happen. So trust the process and be patient. I think the biggest mistakes some youngsters make is when they try to get some quick paths, and that's when they fall. It's not worth it. If it takes a year
Right.
additional, it takes 2 years additional, it's okay. But when you get there, it's a much more tangible thing, that you've got to, something you wanted, which was without shortcuts.
I can totally resonate with the pointers that you have mentioned. So Aditi, a lot of my audience is interested in getting a good high paying job. Now my question over here is this: is it advisable? Like how do you see it? Like someone investing 20 to 30 lakh in an MBA in India, is it worth the ROI, or it's advisable to invest that money somewhere else?
So, like I said in my introduction, I'm an economist by training. So, most of my decision making comes from economic theory. And you've asked a question on
Yeah.
ROI. So, let's make it tangible, right? Now, we'll have to
Mm-hmm.
split the problem and say which MBA are we talking about? No, if you look at the top 10 business schools in India, absolutely worth the ROI because their placement records are extremely high. And that makes sense. Go invest 2 years, you'll come out definitely with a campus placement, which is at a high salary, right? And it's documented evidence. The problem becomes with the next set of MBA schools and the ones even lower, where you're going to invest 20 to 25 lakhs, but their placement records are showing that the candidates are getting placed in jobs which are only paying them 6 to 8 lakhs a year. Now, that's where the ROI is tenable and really tenuous. And I don't think that's a fair ask for parents and for business school aspirants. Why not instead go for a globally recognized degree, for example, something in Germany, where you're going to get it for 10 lakhs and you have guaranteed placements? The ROI is simple. So I think the question to be asked, and to any aspirant, I would say, ask for placement data which are audited records of the business school. And if you see that they're hesitating, that's your answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you know what, Aditi? People will come in the comment and they'll start asking that Didi, there are no jobs even. Like even if we get a degree, even if we learn the skills and build on top of it, still there are no jobs available. So what do you think? Like, is AI really replacing jobs? And what, according to you, are the careers that are going to disappear in the coming time, or may I could say flourish in the next 5 years?
Yeah. This is a very common question, and I think as someone like me who's actually building a workforce mobility business, this is the most common question that I get. Um, Look, AI will replace some jobs, but AI will not replace all jobs, right? And the most important jobs which are here to stay are those which require a skill. And I'm constantly harping on this point. You can see that. I think AI will replace the monotonous jobs, things which are copy paste, things which can have machine learning sort of just replicate at scale. But if you're doing something which needs human interaction, you're doing something which requires human thinking, you're doing something which needs hands in an intricate way to build something, you need people for that. So I think jobs which will always stay perhaps are in the hospitality sector, in aged care, elder care, in manufacturing, in green jobs. These are jobs which are here to stay. I would add one additional thing here. I think the value of professionals who integrate AI into their jobs, the value of those professionals will go up as they go along over the next few years. So, a nurse who's able to use AI to document patient information will be more valuable. A marketing strategist who's using AI for better campaigns and providing better ROI to their companies will be more valued. An engineer who's using AI and knowing better tools available for better and more efficient manufacturing would be more in demand. So, just to synopsize it, there are some jobs which will never be replaced by AI, but professionals who are greatly integrating more and more AI into their way of work will always be high in demand anyway.
Right. Like I'm just absolutely loving this conversation, and it's so insightful. So yeah, Aditi, like, what career advice you think, like, Indian students, or I would say in general students, are following, but it's not right? What is that career advice which is given to us, but that's not actually the way it is advised?
Yeah, I think it's very specific to Indian parents and probably Chinese parents too. And now
Yeah.
that I'm living more and more in Europe and in the UK, I know it's not always the same there. Parenting is different. Um, I think here the advice which is given, which today I don't adhere to, would be get the degree first. You finish your grade 12, get the degree first, and then the career will follow. And perhaps this was true 20 years ago, 30 years ago, definitely the generation before us. This was true. You know, people would get into a job just after their first degree and then stay for decades, you know, and learn along the way and grow in the same company. But the generation has changed, and times have changed, and technology has changed. So we can't have the same kind of adage which was used before, also influencing the youngsters today. Today, it has to be much more about really thinking through what is your passion. And I know sometimes this is a very overused word, you know, passion. But with time, I feel jobs get so stressful that you only get through in those jobs which still make you smile at the end of it all. And, you know, and that only comes from something that you're passionate about. So you must love what you do. So it's not about getting the degree first. I would say pause a little bit, figure out what excites you, and then go ahead and figure out what you want to do.
Now, before we deep dive and know more about your journey, and I definitely want to know, Aditi, know more about your journey experiences, I want to know that what motivated you, excited you to start Magic Billion and other ventures that you're working on.
So, look, I mean, I'm India born and raised, and I moved to the States when I was 21 for my master's. And post that, I spent a 15-year career where I was working with the World Bank, with Boston Consulting Group. I was also with the royal family in the UK, where we helped create a 100 million outcomes fund for girl education. So I've sort of worked on development issues throughout my career before starting Magic Billion. And my interest was always in bringing about systems level change for development. And how can you bring about change which was at a macro level? So in 2018, I actually started Magic Billion together with my father, Mr. Basu Banerjee. And at that time, you know, today Magic Billion has become synonymous with sending people to Germany, but surprisingly, for most, our first talent corridor where we sent people was to Romania in Eastern Europe.
Oh,
And
okay.
when we sent people there, what we realized was that this market of mobility, especially international mobility, is a hugely
Mhm.
scam-ridden, fraudulent kind of economy, you know, which is full of agents,
Yeah.
and it's a cash economy. Everything is in cash, and we realized that it's a very dirty market actually. So one of the
Hmm.
key tenets of building Magic Billion was to create a kind of a infrastructure layer for global mobility that we can use to support Indians to move abroad for jobs, which was clean and ethical, you know. And that's how we started, and those are the tenets we live by. And of course, now we've sent more than 3,000 Indians to more than 10 countries in the world. We don't operate in the Gulf because of the same ethical concerns. We also don't operate in war related countries like Russia, etc. So we keep it clean. And that's what we are building. And now, of course, in India, we have our recruitment license from the Ministry of External Affairs. We work with many state governments in India, including with the Mahima project in the government of Maharashtra. And we are quite, you know, we are sort of building a lot of partnerships in India and growing that way. I also run
Yeah.
a company in Germany, which is called India Works, which is with my partner and co-founder, Dr. Handek von Ungenstenberg. So we are sort of creating a proper legitimate base in Europe, and then we have a
Hmm.
legitimate base in India. So we are trying to create pathways in this way so we don't lose sight of the candidates who we send abroad.
Wow. This is so inspirational. So if you have to summarize, like what exactly are the problems that you're trying to solve? I would definitely like to know that.
I think the key problem we are trying to solve is trust. Trust in global mobility. That's the key from a candidate perspective that we are trying to solve. Today, we are only sending 3,000 people out, but the aspiration in India is massive. It's in millions. So, our goal would be that in 5 years, we are able to impact more than 100,000 lives. Yeah, so we have a long way to go. But I think the key problem
Absolutely.
that we are trying to really clean in this system is that of trust. 1 out of 2 candidates who apply to Magic Billion has been scammed in the past. So, for us, it is always guilty until proven innocent. You do something too quickly, there's a question mark. You do something too late, there's a question mark. You get an offer too quickly, there's a question mark. So,
Yeah.
I understand that's the market, but I hope that with time, the real trustworthy players come out on the top and people trust the system a little bit better.
I've been on both the sides. I can totally relate to it, and it's really a very big problem in India.
Yeah.
Like the trust factor,
Yeah.
and to actually work with someone or build with someone or associate with someone with whom you can have that full trust. That's actually very important.
Yeah. Yeah, I fully agree. Fully, and that's actually part of the reason I have this totally open Instagram profile because I was told that a lot of candidates actually go to my Instagram to feel that connect, to say, this person looks trustworthy. So hopefully the company she's running is also trustworthy. And I understand
Yeah.
it's a human business, it's people to people. So yes, thanks,
Correct.
Shivangi.
So now, Aditi, I want some quick answers from you. I know we have discussed a lot, but just to summarize so that the audience and us are we are on the same page, do you think studying abroad is still worth it in 2026?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. So should students focus on like degree or skills? What is that one thing they should focus upon?
I'm sorry, I can't give you a one answer. They have to focus on both because skills will get you hired, but degrees will get you through the immigration system.
So when it comes to global employers, what do they actually look forward when they're hiring candidates?
Let me answer this based on my own experience because I've been sitting across global employers for years now. They are looking for attitude first, language second, verified skill set third, exactly in that order.
Okay. So now, when it comes to moving abroad, studying abroad, there are multiple options that we have. Like we can go for Germany, we can go for the USA, then we can go for UK, Canada. So many options. Which one would you suggest to target for?
Look, UK and Canada and also US have been the traditional options for most Indians. UK and Canada now are much
Yeah.
more restrictive in terms of their visas, etc. US, very expensive. Also, I believe, have been quite restricted recently under the current government. Germany, on the other hand, and other European degrees, much more attainable. They are looking for people. There are mobility agreements being signed between India and European countries. So I would look at Europe and particularly Germany much more.
Okay, so don't you think German language becomes a barrier in case of Germany?
Yes, German language can be a barrier at times, but it depends on which kind of college you're going to. It depends on whether it's a bachelor's or a master's. It depends on what's the next goal in terms of career. So it's not always mandatory, but of course, integration in
Okay.
Germany becomes much easier if you know the language. Yes. But the return on investment, which was your earlier question, is much higher, Shivangi. So it's worth that investment in the language.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, this gives far more clarity because a lot of times people take this decision to move to UK, US just because English is the primary language. So if you're saying there are both the options available, then of course Germany can be considered in a very, very positive way. So Aditi, I was just going through the global degree program on the Magic Billion page, and I thought maybe you would be the right person to tell us all the details about the programs. So I want you to just throw light on that. What this program is about.
So, we have always been, and that's what we've been discussing about in this mobility space, right? Building this infrastructure layer for Indians to get access. And what we realized is that to move to Europe, your credentials become important. Now, typically, when you come out with a bachelor's in anything in India other than engineering, which is a 4-year degree, the German Immigration Authority will typically compare it to a German standard. And the Indian degree falls short. And that invariably is a big problem and a hindrance for German employers to hire Indian talent. So we thought, let's get rid of this issue and bring a German fully accredited Bachelor's of Arts in Management Studies from one of the best known universities in Germany, which we've known for a long time. We've known their management for a long time, called Steinbeis University. And we are bringing their bachelor's fully online to India, taught by German professors. It's a weekend program, fully accredited, meaning it's not the typical kind of program where you have to do some part of it here, some part of it there, or you have to do a kind of a bridge course. None of that. It's a proper bachelor's coming here, which you study online on the weekends, but you're in India for 3 years. We are also bringing it here at a subsidized rate, so in a scholarship way. So if you go online, this program is available for 12,000 euros, but we are bringing it here for less than 9 lakhs. So it's quite subsidized for the Indian candidates. And the best part is, once you get done with the 3 years here, not only have you not spent as much as you would have if you moved to Germany to do it, but the degree itself will give you a visa in hand to move to Germany afterwards, because now you're holding a German bachelor's in hand. So, the pathway into EU is much safer, better, cleaner, and ethical, which is, again, back to what we are trying to build in the system.
Okay, so who is this program exactly designed for, Aditi?
I would say it's probably designed for 3 kinds of people. The first would be young career professionals who are working and want a globally recognized degree on the side, perhaps with the intention of moving to Europe in a few years' time. That would be one. Second would be those who've already started a bachelor's but are not really sure that's the bachelor's they want to do, and instead do this either together, because the time commitment is less, so either do it together with their existing bachelor's or replace it with what they're currently doing. So those already in bachelor's, which they're not fully committed to. And the third would be, frankly, for all families who have an aspiration for their for their kids to get a European degree, but without having to pay 30-40 lakhs for it, which is the norm.
Okay, so how is it exactly different from the regular Indian degree?
Well, it's actually very, very different than a regular Indian degree. Firstly, you get a proper bachelor's, a fully accredited bachelor's in management studies from Steinbeis University, Germany. That's the first. Totally different from an Indian degree. Second reason it's different is because it's extremely flexible. It's 3 days over a weekend every month of studying. So that's totally different from this very sort of, classroom studying approach that we have in India. So that's the second. I think flexibility is a big part of it. The third one is it already sort of puts the workplace and how you work and putting that in touch with theoretical learning of management into it. So because it's meant for people who are also working part-time and studying this bachelor's. So you're able to test some of what you're learning in the classroom in the workplace already. So when you come out, you have both the knowledge sitting with you. And of course, the fourth and last difference, I'd say it gives you a direct pathway to Europe because, like I said, you get access to the opportunity card or the Chancenkarte. So, you already have that pathway to move to EU.
Right. Now, I would definitely like to know more in detail about the program, name of the program exactly, the curriculum, faculty, fees, eligibility, all of these questions are there in my mind. So I would want you to throw some light on this as well.
So Shivangi, why don't we do this? There's a lot of detailing behind it and I don't want to rush through it. And I'm sure your audience, don't want to spend so much time here listening to me talk about it. So why don't we send you all of this information on eligibility and curriculum, professors, and all of this really detailed stuff, important stuff, but detailed stuff. We'll send it to you in a kind of a 2 or 3 pager PDF, and you can put it out for the audience for those who are interested.
I think, yeah, that completely makes sense. We'll add all these details in a document, and I'll share the document in the description. So make sure if you're interested, you go through it and just know each and everything properly. Apart from this, we'll also provide a support contact number to you. So in case you want to talk to the team, ask any questions, you can definitely do that. But Aditi, still there is one question which everyone asks is like, if you are going ahead with a degree, you're learning something, you would definitely want a placement support. So that's the biggest challenge we face in India as well, comparing the colleges that are too famous, but still they are not providing that placement support and all of that. So I want to know, do we have any placement support over here? If yes, what sort of support is there? When can students apply for that job? And what sort of salaries they can expect once they have that placement?
And I mean, it routes back to the question you had previously asked about how to pick a good MBA degree. So,
Yes.
the ROI is always linked to placements. Look, let me say a few things. Firstly, there is nobody in Germany with this degree today who is without a job. Yeah, so I think that's a huge data point. Anyone in Germany with a bachelor's or a master's degree is sitting with a job. Earned in Germany. Yeah, I don't mean coming from abroad with it, but earned in Germany. The unemployment rate of people with a bachelor's and a master's is near zero. So that's the first data point, which I think is an important one. Post this particular degree, according to the facts that we have, it is almost close to 95% the placement rate. No Indian MBA is able to give these placement rates, and it's all over the news here in India. So the placement rates are extremely high. The good thing about this particular degree is because it's supported by Magic Billion and India Works, our companies which are in the space of mobility, we are going to be there to provide the placements to the candidates. And what we are guaranteeing in this degree, we are actually guaranteeing is to enable employer interviews for candidates who are undergoing this. Yeah. So we are putting a lot into this program, and I feel comfortable because we are already present in Germany. We are not like a study abroad company which is just selling some programs somewhere in the world. It's not that. Yeah, we are there in country. I mean, in Freiburg, where this university will be conducting its classes, we are a few meters away is our own office. So, we're quite personally invested in the placements process for this particular program. So throughout, just last 2 things here. Throughout the process, we are going to make sure that there are sessions on how to conduct yourself with German employers, how to make your CVs, to appeal to German employers, what to put in, what to not put in, really grooming you and giving you that career counseling. That's one. But the second part would be that we also have our own skills academy, which provides German language training. So there'll be many other upskilling opportunities which will put the chances of a good placement forward for candidates. So it's sort of a more holistic approach that we are taking to this degree.
And I think this part of the program makes everything worth it. So it was really amazing talking to you, Aditi, knowing about the program, knowing about your journey, and definitely learning a lot from your experiences. I'm sure this podcast is super valuable for the audience itself. So thank you so much, Aditi, for coming over here, giving all the insights and giving your time to us.
Thank you, Shivangi. It was a pleasure to chat with you and to take some of what we're building and some of what we want to support the youth in India with through your platform to all your subscribers. So thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Guys, I will share Aditi's LinkedIn to you in the description if you want to know more about her journey, connect with her. Just for your trust, I will share that LinkedIn profile. And other than that, I would highly recommend you to check out Magic Billion's global degree program. That link also I'll add in the description. I'll also share you a Google form where you can fill in your details and questions, and the team will reach out to you. Thank you so much, guys. If you like the podcast, don't forget to hit the like button, share it to your friends, and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you get notified whenever I post my new video. Thank you so much.